Chapter 7. The next morning, of course, Aunt Pitty-Pat was very upset. She was afraid of what Scarlet's parents might say if they heard of Scarlet's behavior at the party. However, it was Melanie who persuaded Aunt Pitty-Pat not to write to Ellen. Melanie, who believed everyone was as good and kind as she was, loved Scarlet dearly, and even thought Rhett Butler was wonderful. This was because Rhett was secretly helping the Southern armies by stealing supplies for them from the North. "Oh, Aunt Pitty-Pat, Scarlet didn't mean any harm. I know she loved Charlie. Please don't tell Mrs. O'Hara about this. Then Scarlet will have to return to Tara, and we'd be lonely again," Melanie said the next morning. Aunt Pitty-Pat was really a very sweet lady, so she agreed not to make trouble. Scarlet, of course, did not deserve Melanie's good opinion of her, and she knew it, but she did not care. It was during this time that Scarlet began to walk quietly into Melanie's room when she was not there and read the letters Ashley wrote to his wife. They were very boring letters, not like a lover's. Instead, Ashley talked of very serious, sad things. Mainly, he spoke of the war and how terrible it was to kill other people. He spoke of how awful it would be if the South lost, and he seemed to feel that the South might lose. When she read these letters, Scarlet always felt relieved. At least, Ashley was not writing words of love to Melanie. She felt certain that, even though he was married, Ashley still loved her. Ashley's letters to Melanie spoke the truth about the war. The northern factories were busy making lots of war supplies for their people, like medicine and clothing. The South did not have very much medicine, clothing, and other things for their soldiers. The northern states used to provide the southern states with these important supplies, while the South would send their cotton, fruits, and vegetables to the North. But when the war began, no one was trading. Now, the Southerners discovered that medicine and clothing were very expensive. In Atlanta, the doctors at the hospitals were worrying about the amount of medical supplies available. People had to make their own clothing and live without the better things in life. Meanwhile, Rhett Butler began to visit the Hamilton home. Aunt Pitty-Pat was very afraid of what people would say about this, because she cared very much what people in good society thought of her. Rhett was not a good person to have in your home, because of all the terrible stories about him. He was the most talked about man in Atlanta. But Melanie loved Rhett, and Rhett truly seemed to like Melanie, too. When he was around her, he stopped his teasing and became gentle and pleasant. Soon, Rhett even managed to make Aunt Pitty-Pat like him. Rhett's charming behavior puzzled Scarlet. Why didn't he act like a gentleman to her? Why did he tease her so much? Sometimes he made her so mad that she got angry and insulted him. But then he would laugh and tell her to say more. However, Scarlet guessed that his visits to the Hamilton house were really to see her. Rhett had been helping the South find supplies, but soon the quality of his goods became not as good. He also began to speak up and say things about the war that angered everyone in Atlanta. Rhett was not patriotic, and he did not believe in the South's cause.
"This war is only about money,"
he would say.
The Southern Army will never win this war. We are too weak. People think England is going to help us. They're wrong. That will never happen.
Soon, Aunt Pitty-Pat's house became the only house Rhett could visit. One day, Scarlet asked Rhett, "Rhett, why don't you just be quiet and not say what you think? Then you could go anywhere in Atlanta you wanted." Rhett laughed.
Scarlet, I never thought you were a coward. What happened to the girl who always said what she thought? The sooner people in the South realize that we are in a terrible situation and are probably not going to win the war, the better off everyone will be. Admit it, Scarlet, the South is doomed. But I'll be all right, at least. I've made plenty of money, and it's all in gold.
"Well, I think you're horrible, Rhett Butler. I'm sure the South is going to win the war, and I don't understand why you're not loyal," said Scarlet. Rhett laughed even harder.
Scarlet, you know what I am saying is true, even if you won't admit it to me. You and I are very similar, you know. We don't care about anyone else as long as we are fed and have money. I am sure that you don't care about the war and who wins it, as long as you have pretty dresses and parties to go to.
Scarlet was so angry she couldn't even speak. How dared Rhett talk this way? But Rhett went right on speaking.
Unlike other women, you are a girl who sees things as they really are. You just don't want to let people see it, because they'll think you're not a lady. But, Scarlet, I didn't come here to talk about war with you. Why are you still wearing this ugly black clothing? I know you've been going to more dances and parties. I think you should wear what you want to.
Rhett, be quiet. I have to pretend I'm sad about Charles's death. You know how people talk. But I do really want to wear the latest dresses from Europe.
Well, I have brought you a present, and I want to see you wearing it every time you go to a party,"
said Rhett. Scarlet cried out with happiness as he gave her a beautiful green hat. She wanted to forget all about the customs, which said that a widow couldn't wear such things. "Rhett, it's beautiful. The color matches my eyes perfectly. I love it, but I can't wear this anywhere. I don't have a green dress to match." Rhett smiled.
"Then I will bring you a green dress soon. Now, don't go and hide the hat upstairs and not wear it. Otherwise, I'll come and take it back."
Rhett's gift made Scarlet forget about her anger at him. She began to wonder if he was in love with her. It was true that he didn't act like other men, who had brought her flowers and candy and agreed with everything she said. Sometimes Rhett's comments made her so mad she never wanted to see him again. "If he is in love with me, I'll have such fun making him admit it," thought Scarlet. Then he wouldn't be able to tease her anymore or act so awful. Rhett wasn't afraid of her, like the other boys had sometimes been.
"Scarlet can certainly get mad when she wants to,"
Stuart and Brent Tarleton used to say. But Rhett seemed to like making Scarlet mad and having discussions with her. Rhett knew about lots of things. He even knew a lot about ladies' clothing. You could talk to him about what people were wearing in Europe. Scarlet thought he was very strange. Even though she wasn't in love with him, Scarlet began to look forward to his visits. When Rhett was around, talking with her, Melanie and Aunt Pitty-Pat, Scarlet was surprised to realize that she didn't think about Ashley for a little while.